Amazon says you haven't submitted the info for the Inform Act, but you did. Now you're stuck in this loop. And that's what happened with one of our clients. They were stuck in this loop. It was terrible, but it's our job. It's a full-time job. It's calling them and getting it escalated so you can get reinstated, right? So this is what happens sometimes. You're on Amazon. If you're a new seller, even when the Inform Act comes, sometimes they just suspend you. If you've been on Amazon for a while, they give you like 10 days, sometimes more. But this is the loop. You can see right here, they're stuck in a loop. So what happens is they submitted the information. They were verified. The next day they come in and then it says they weren't verified, right? So like, what? This is weird, right? So they come in, verification failed. Okay, what do? They can't apply. There's no apply. There's no video call. They're like, why don't at least give us a video call? And they were just stuck in a loop. So if you're not stuck in a loop, congrats. You still have if you're not going to go through a lot of pain, you should be able to get reinstated. Just make sure everything you do, see that magnifying glass? That's what you're going to do. If you have one, get one, right? Go through everything. Zoom in really, really close. Pretend you're older. Look at every single line looks good. And this, I'm talking about your name and your address. It needs to match up perfectly with Amazon Seller Central. Everything needs to match, right? If I'm Josh and a document says Joshua, that's an instant fail, okay? As simple as that. If the address is, sometimes if it's abbreviated one way, it could be an instant fail. It could be. Sometimes the people who are viewing this don't fully understand what's going on. But the global seller identity, there is a policy on this. It literally goes through all the documents that you can submit. If you don't have a document, there's another one. There's quite a bit of documents you can submit, all right? So again, go through everything with a magnifying glass, looking for a missing period or comma. Is there anything capitalized, abbreviated, spelling, right? So they're talking about the abbreviation, right? So there could be the spelling, usually in addresses, where it says DR, and then one says drive. DR could mean drive could mean drive. Well, are you going to fight them? No, just get everything changed, right? You could also go to the bank and change everything, but the easiest way is to change it on Amazon and to talk with a human. So talk with somebody. You can talk to the account health support. If you're a professional seller, you call them and you say, hey, look, here's all my documents. You submit them and you have them look over it. And this is going to be in an actual conversation while you're on the phone. Can you look over it? Does everything look good? If they give you the okay, and you're like, oh my gosh, can you write notes on that? They'll take notes that say, hey, everything was good to me. And that way, when you submit it and it doesn't get approved, you can call again. You can say, hey, I spoke to XXX on this date. You read her notes and they're like, oh my gosh, she said it's perfect. This is weird. And then you can get somebody that can escalate it internally. That's when you're like, you're right. Can you look at it too? They'll look at it too. You escalate it internally and then you're good to go, right? And what's been happening, again, another Inform Act verification, this person, they kept submitting their passport and the passport kept getting rejected. And that's just because Amazon had an error in their system and they had to actually get in front of a human. So sometimes you got to get in front of a human or else you're not going to get approved. You get stuck in a loop. If you're stuck in a loop, you won't get reinstated. To get reinstated, you need to get out of the loop and you have to contact Amazon. You can see this is a message that Amazon sent us. We're just like, look, guys, we gave you everything. What do you want, right? And they're saying, this person's saying, I reviewed your documents. They look good. Let me, I'll escalate this to the verification team. And you can see we're calling every day. We're like, Amazon, almost every day. You don't want to overdo it because they can ban you from calling them. And then Amazon Seller Center, right? We're calling them. Hey guys, it's been 10 days. Looks like you don't know what you're doing. You gotta say that a lot nicer. I think it's time to escalate it. Escalate it? Yeah. We need to get this done. You straight up told me that everything matches up. It needs to get escalated, okay? You get their name, you put all that info down, you get it escalated, right? Because the problem is with the reps, here's an example of the reps, they're not escalating it. They're saying they're gonna escalate it, right? So you can see, this is the actual escalation. So you can say, hey, can you escalate it to the catalog team, to the captive team, to the leadership team? You wanna at least get to the captive team as quickly as humanly possible, right? They most likely won't get you to the captive team unless you have the documents and they can see that it's not getting accepted, things like that. You're still calling. Hey guys, hey, what's going on? And after your escalation, you're going to be asking them constantly for updates, because this is what usually happens if you're not asking for updates. They're going to tell you, look, relax. They're like, look, Josh, we escalated it. All right, I understand. I got you. I know what the problem is. We're going to get this resolved for you. You just sit back, take a breather, sit back. Now, what happens when you sit back is they purposely end the case. They close it and you can't reopen it. So that happened. You can see multiple cases have been previously closed without resolution. Waiting another 5 to 7 business days without concrete action is unacceptable. Don't accept it. No. You're not in the wrong. They are. And then, of course, we're like, look, we need to get this. This is terrible. This is actually, at this point, you guys might be breaking the law. Things like kind of just like going through the whole thing to get it even more serious. We want to get as many eyes on this as possible. This is somebody from Amazon that literally read through the documents and said everything matches up, does not understand why. And they were finally able to get it escalated, I guess, to the correct department and get it reinstated. Now, they can ping them. They can ping them, the other departments. They won't tell you that, but a lot of times they can ping the other departments and be like, hey, can you help with this? Do they ever do that? Not often, but they will, especially if they're the captive team. Now, if none of this works, you've got L2. So L1 was everything I showed you. You do need to go through all those vicious, terrible, time-consuming steps if you want to get this resolved and go to level 2. Level 2 is going to be Better Business Bureau, BBB. And you contact the Better Business Bureau. Amazon has a reputation. You stick to the facts, you're concise, you're to the point, and you say what happened, what went wrong, and what you would like out of it. Somebody from Amazon will contact you. And it's not going to be like a nurse. It's going to be somebody that's like an advocate that's going to help you. Okay. Use them. Don't go crazy, but you need to utilize them. They didn't put the case ID. They should have put the case. If this was an Amazon case, I'd put the case ID. I'd put as many photos as I can if it lets me attach photos, right? And if that doesn't work, then you have to escalate it to executives now. But now you have so much of it. You have a huge paper trail now. You got a paper trail where you even, not only do you actually go to the hospital, but you actually went or had escalated with the Better Business Bureau, right? And that sometimes these reps work at a hospital, they work somewhere. Sometimes you want to do this and have all of that evidence, because once you get to the executive team, they want to see that you actually tried. Once you see that, then they'll reinstate your account very quickly, right? Now, that doesn't always happen, because sometimes if you send a bad email, they're not going to open it. They're automatically going to deny it. Like if this was an email, it would get auto denied. I would deny. I'd be like, what the heck is this? Very low effort. Now, a high effort does not mean it's a lengthy email. It's going to be short, sweet, concise, and to the point. With your merchant ID, you can just kind of copy this, and it's going to take 30 days, up to 30 days to get a response, right? And this is from an internal at Amazon. They always say escalation's part of Amazon's system. So don't get worried. If you do get an answer from the executive team, you're either going to get approved or denied. It usually isn't something in the middle. Make sure you reference all that case IDs, everything you've done. If you're still not reinstated, then you do a Hail Mary. We worked with the Hail Mary. We already did it with a client recently, Amazon Arbitration. This was around a month ago. The client was connected to an account. She goes and she travels and she promotes her products, got connected to somebody called Big Cheese. Do you know Big Cheese? I'm like, I'm sorry. It's very sad, but funny. Like, you're like, you're looking back out, very funny, but you have to go. I said, look, Amazon wasn't accepting anything. We call Amazon. Hey, look, nobody's accepting anything. You gave us everything, but nobody's accepting anything because you don't know who Big Cheese is. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, did you guys ever think it's a hoax? Like, anyway, put them in front of an attorney. An attorney files the arbitration. Right when it's filed, all of a sudden, Amazon, now they actually care. They're like, oh shoot, pick up the file. They read it and they know they messed up. And they reinstate the account right away. There's no arbitration. There's not even a date. It got reinstated right away. And that was it. Case closed. So a lot of the times you just need to file. And a lot of these companies, especially the big companies, I know Samsung, I have a Samsung. I have an iPhone too. I have nothing wrong with Samsung, but they're well known. They will not pay up their fees, whatever they got to get the special cameras or whatever, the Snapdragon. They won't pay the Snapdragon Qualcomm or whatever until they sue them. And it's how some companies work. We don't have time for that. If it's serious, they'll sue us. And they're about to sue, and they're like, oh, shoot, okay, here you go. And all of a sudden, everything's paid for, everything's done, and your account's reinstated. So that's arbitration's last resort, right? It's going to cost at least $6,000. I would say upward, obviously, depends on the attorney. It could be more than $20,000 depending on the whole cost and the whole. But I would assume $20,000 would be the top. So $6,000 to $20,000. Definitely talk to an attorney. Do not do it by yourself. If you do it by yourself, and this happened, they read through the file, they would laugh. They would show up and they would try to beat you, and you'd waste so much time. And that's just because they went to law school. So they're going to have a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to be like, this pro se imagine if you were an attorney and so someone says didn't even study law, and they come in, they're like, I can do this. You're probably going to be very upset. You're not going to like them. You're going to try to rip them up, right? So get yourself an attorney for this part. We can help, but that's the whole gist, right? And again, we were able to get reinstated. The reinstatement notification, yeah, here it is. But it took a lot of time. Took a full-time job, and that's what we do. That's why we're in business. If you do need any help on this, yes, you can do it yourself. Yes, you'll have to call every day. Yes, you'll have to follow up every day, but you can do it. You can always reach out to us. We can do everything except for the arbitration, but we can walk you through it. And if none of this works, you still got a stealth account. So anything's possible at the end of the day. I'm Josh Hackett, CEO, signing out.